there was taking bets in Vegas on whether or not Lieutenant Dan would survive Kick, Adin Ross, Jack Doherty, all these other influencers. They're all sperm or spawn of Satan because they're trying to distract everybody with bullshit.
What is up, my man? What is up? Welcome to the next hour, dude. I'm glad to have you on, man. I've been messaging you for about a week now, dude. You are a busy man.
Yeah, I get a lot of. Well, I'm sorry, I get a lot of junk mail too, and stuff
Yeah,
gets mixed up.
man. How's Florida?
Hot, very hot. The last couple of days, it's been like unbearable.
Wow.
I just turned on I ran my generator and plugged in the air conditioner, which I normally never use. I just use a fan. I plugged the air conditioner in, blew out my generator.
Holy shit. For the people sitting at the house, living under a rock, and don't know who you are, can you tell the people who you are, where you're from, and maybe give a little backstory on yourself, man?
Well, my name's Joe. Everybody on the internet knows me as Lieutenant Dan because of the hurricane a couple of years ago. But I mean that the hurricane, everybody made a big deal about that. But if you know my whole life, how I lost my leg at 16, cut it off at 18. When I was 30, I was diagnosed with cancer on Monday and multiple sclerosis on Thursday. I went through two complete series of chemotherapy and became addicted to painkillers that were prescribed by doctors and didn't even realize how addicted I was for 14 years. And I still
Holy shit.
maintained a house. I maintained a house. I maintained my mortgage payments and my family. And, all I did was just sit on the couch and watch TV and eat these Oxycontin pills that the doctors gave me for the pain. And 2014, I decided to get off of them. And when I did, my whole world changed. I woke up and decided it was time to move on.
Wow. That's Yeah, that's some fucked up shit, man. Addiction's pretty crazy. You know, back when that pill mill shit was going on, man, that was a real problem.
That was it. I
Yeah.
mean, what they were charging for the pill, the insurance company was ridiculous. I mean, for
Oh yeah.
me, I only paid a $15 copay for a bottle of 90 OC80s, which on the
Ew.
street at the time I didn't know. I wasn't street. I was the stay-at-home dad that took care of his
Right.
family, that went to work until every day until I got cancer. And but God had other plans,
Right.
you know.
Right. Hey, God works in mysterious ways, man. I'm a year and 4 months sober myself, actually, off alcohol, dude. And honestly,
Congratulations.
hey, man, I appreciate it, dude.
For me, it was my daughter had my grandson in 2013, and the first time I held him in my hands, I said to my son, "I'm Papa,"
That's
and he didn't
awesome.
understand what that meant, but you and I do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the pop now. I get to do all the good stuff with the grandbaby, like my grandfather did with me, that
Oh
I
yeah.
never did with my own kids, really. Um, And I said, I got to get off these pills. I just can't do anything on these pills. I can't get off the couch. I don't want to do anything. I have no energy, no ambition.
Yeah.
But I had this back pain and hip pain. And he said, you ever try pot? I said, where they sell that? CVS aisle 3? Because I know they don't have it at Walgreens. Mommy works there. My ex-wife used to work for Walgreens as a pharmacy tech. So,
Right.
all I knew about marijuana was that it was illegal and you just stay away from that because, I was asleep, if you know what that means. I mean, I believed everything the government told us, you know, right is wrong
Wow.
and wrong is right and all of that kind of crap. And I did all the research and found out that marijuana is really, God gave it to us for a reason. He didn't give us alcohol. God didn't create
Right.
alcohol, man did.
Yeah.
But God created weed. So that should tell you something right there. I mean, it's good for you. And there's only two places in the world to find endocannabinoids. Your body has something called an endocannabinoid system. It regulates everything in your body. There's only two places to get the endocannabinoids from. One is mother's milk, listen to me, a pregnant female that's lactating, her breast milk has endocannabinoids. That's why babies that are breastfed are bigger, stronger, smarter than babies that are bottle fed because the formulas don't have everything that the mother's milk has. And the
Right.
only other place to get it other than mother's milk is from cannabis, from marijuana.
It's
So
crazy.
either let me smoke weed or I'm going to suck on a nipple all day long.
Right? Hey,
Uh,
I don't
You
think
know?
hey, win-win, right?
Exactly.
But yeah, man, so let's go back a little bit. So tell everybody how'd you lose your leg, man? How'd you lose your leg? I'm pretty sure a lot of people would love to hear that.
I was on a scooter and I was going to my girlfriend's house. I was driving down the road, and in Perth Amboy, New Jersey, where I was on Route 30, it was not Route 35, 440, which is a very busy road where there's the Garden State Parkway, New Jersey Turnpike, routes 1 and 9, all these highways. It's on and off ramps right there. So I jumped in the left lane because the left lane's safer. As I'm going down the road, I looked to the right for a second, took my eye off the road for a second to look at a gas station to see who was working. And as soon as I came around, there was a car just stopped in the middle of the highway right there in front of me. I hit him doing 45, went up,
Damn.
my leg hit the back window, shattered it, and I started spinning in the air like this, landed about 150 yards away. And the first thing I wanted to do was get up and report my bike stolen so my insurance didn't go up, you know?
Right.
But when I rolled over, my leg was like a Z and I couldn't move. So I just rolled back over and said, "Don't move me." And as I'm laying there, this beautiful blonde showed up. And I've only caught this myself over the last few years of telling this story over and over because my ex wife and my family know this story. But this beautiful blonde showed up out of nowhere and she kneeled down on my left side and she started stroking my hair with her right hand and she put her left hand on my thigh. And she's telling me everything is going to be okay. You're going to be all right. She's looking at me dead in my eyes. Meanwhile, my eyes were diverted down her blouse because she had a low cut blouse on and her boobs were just sticking out. And I was 16 years old. And I never
Right.
thought anything about it. I never thought anything about it. And I only recently put the pieces together. But that I wound up in the hospital. My leg was broke. My whole family showed up in the hospital within an hour. Um, I didn't understand. I didn't recognize what was going on, but my mother had gotten to the hospital in 45 minutes when she was an hour and a half away in upstate New York. So I knew,
Damn.
it kind of got crazy. So that night they operated, they put me in skeleton traction. 3 days later, I went in for surgery. They put me in a device called the Hoffman device, which is 6 rods going through the leg, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3 down the lower part of the leg. 2 big bars on each side holding it all together, and that way it's called the Hoffman device. It's an external fixation. They put a plate in my femur because I broke my femur, and I severed my femoral artery. Now I didn't know what any of that meant at the time. I was 16 years old.
Right.
But on that third day, when the doctor operated, the vascular surgeon pulled my mother onto the side and said I had never seen a femoral artery pinched off the way his was in the hip
Holy shit.
before. I should have bled out and died at the scene. If you cut your femoral artery in an emergency room, there's a good chance you're going to bleed out because it's a major artery in your leg. So that's why everybody was on eggshells. They didn't understand why I wasn't pouring out blood because they knew there was no blood going below the knee. They kept going with this machine and it just didn't make no noise. But by telling this story over and over again, it clicked with me how the femoral artery being pinched in the hip like that, and that beautiful blonde telling me everything is going to be okay and putting her hand on my thigh.
Yep.
And now, as telling that story, I call her Gabrielle. She's the
Okay.
Archangel Gabrielle because she was
Yeah,
sent to save my life.
that was your angel, man.
Yeah, exactly,
That was
no doubt.
100%, man. And yeah, that's awesome. That's actually very touching, dude. A lot of people, especially this day and age, you know how the world is now. They don't really like to believe in the big man upstairs and stuff. And you get what I'm saying.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. I mean, I don't know how much my story you've listened to, but the only reason why I was in Tampa, Florida, when the hurricane hit was because I was in Colorado in jail, and God put on my heart one day, Tampa, Florida, and get a boat. I finally got to Tampa,
Crazy.
Florida. It took me 5 years to get there. 5 years to put that together. I got
That's
to
awesome.
Tampa, Florida. I bought a boat, and 9 months later, the first hurricane, Helena, hit, and then 2 weeks later, Milton hit, and I was super viral for I don't for he, God is going to use me. Okay, so I just want to put that out there for the non-believers because
100%, man. And I do have a question. Was that even when you were in your boat, man? Did you even feel the fucking storm?
it was weird because with Helena, the first one, the rain was real bad, and the way my boat was positioned, I was getting
Yeah,
hit in the back of the boat because I was tied to the dock. I
right.
repositioned it, everything went out perfect from Helena. Milton, I was tied to the dock again, and that was the category 5 where everybody came down and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah,
And I said, God sent me here. He didn't send me here to die. So I bounced around a lot, but it was nothing that was so severe that would have made me want to leave. I've been in much hairier situations than those. And when I found out the next day of the damage that was only like 2 blocks away, 2 blocks from me, a crane got knocked off the top of the building and crashed in the middle of the road, took half of the building down.
damn.
Yeah. So, and me, I was just bouncing around. It was like not even seasickness.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I know. I saw it when it was going down, man, and I remember the news when they actually. I remember them putting you actually on the news, the view of the boat, and dude, you were fine. You were good. I mean, you were fine.
There was one news report that I saw. I don't remember what channel it was, but they showed my boat in the morning and then at
Yeah,
night and then in the morning again. But the
yeah,
middle shot of the one at night where the boat's going like this, is going crazy all over the place.
y-
That's not my
yeah.
boat. That's not my boat.
Really,
That's not my boat. That wasn't me. The opening shot and the closing shot was me. They substituted the middle because it was too boring. They had to
that's
put something
funny
in that was more attractive,
to get
so to
people's
speak.
attention.
Exactly, because that
That's crazy.
first of all, if you ever see that video again and look, that sailboat didn't even have the mast in the middle.
Yeah, I didn't pay attention. I just saw the
No,
clip, and I figured it was
nobody.
you.
That's the thing. Nobody caught that, but I did because I'm looking at it, I'm saying that's not my boat because the boat had the sailing mast in the first picture, then it's gone, then it's back again in the morning. Where'd it go? And now it's back again. I'm not a magician.
Right, right, right. Yeah, man, that shit was crazy. That was a crazy time. Everything that was going on with you. I mean, I was watching it. I saw, I was running viral alert at the time with the whole influencer box and shit, and
Uh,
I saw, I was seeing you getting interviewed and shit. I saw, dude, your life changed. I mean,
you have no idea. I mean, I live a very quiet, calm life. Okay. And
yeah,
as far as like social media goes, at the time I was a Facebook and just getting into TikTok.
yeah,
You want to, I didn't know what it meant to be viral for like a month after the hurricane.
right.
I didn't even know I went viral. I didn't understand what the
You
fuck
had no
was
clue,
going on. No, I was totally oblivious. I'm in the middle of
right?
this shit, walking around with fucking 50, 100 people standing around. There were always tons of people down there at the dock.
Yeah,
The video cameras. I didn't know what the hell they were shooting. They were shooting me the whole time. I didn't even know it.
yeah,
So it was wild. It was really was
yeah.
wild.
Yeah, man. You definitely had a crazy ass stint through that time. And let me ask you this: if you could go back, would you do it again?
But yeah,
100%.
for
Yeah,
sure. I
for
mean,
sure.
very few. Hindsight is 50-50, and I never look back. I only look forward. And
All
if I
right.
made a mistake yesterday that caused me, to make change in my plans today, well, then that's what we have to do. We just keep pushing.
Yeah.
What else are you
Yeah.
gonna do?
Right. Right. Yeah, man. Your boat's badass too. By the way, I actually I'm a big boat guy, man. I have a little lake house down here in Tennessee, and man,
Oh yeah.
you're hell yeah. I got a little floating cabin on North Lake. I don't know if you've ever heard of North Lake, but it's a really nice
I,
lake down here.
there's a guy online that lives in a shanty boat on a Tennessee river.
Yeah, yeah,
He's real.
yeah, yeah. That,
I watch him all the time. I'm like, I want to do that because you can park in the shade. You know, out here on the
man,
ocean, you're just in the sun all day long. It beats the hell out of you.
yeah, man. That's exactly what I have. Something exactly like that. Except he's on the river, so I'm on the lake. He's probably about 20 minutes from me.
Okay.
Um, but hey, I watch his stuff, man. He's a good. I love his stuff, man.
Yeah, he's so cool, and it's just like that is his setup is perfect. It's perfect. It's like everything that you need. See, God did that to me. When I was married for 25 years. I have two adult children today.
But wow, how'd you do
And
that? I'm just kidding. I'm
I know, right? But both neither of my children know what it's like to live in somebody else's property.
right.
Okay? I've always owned my own home since I was 21 years old. Well, 20 years old. I bought my first house. And I always had to have everything nice. You know, you want a nice shit. But then after I left my ex-wife and the last 10 years, I've gone through it. God had to make sure that I've been through everything. I was a stay-at-home dad. I was a stay-at-home dad. And he turned me into somebody that could be put in nearly any situation and walk out of it. I've been to
Yeah.
prison. I've been to jail multiple times. I've been to prison twice. Um, I've lost everything. And I mean, bro, I mean, when I say everything, I mean everything where I walked out with the clothes I was wearing. I walked out of prison with the clothes I was wearing, and that was it. Everything else was gone. I got arrested again in Lake Worth on some BS, and I lost my boat that time. Lost everything
Damn.
there. In Tampa, the boat that I went through the hurricane with, the city impounded it, and I lost that boat with everything I owned on it. I walked out of
That's
there with
fucked up.
nothing, not even clothes, bro. Every personal belonging I've ever owned is gone. I don't have anything older than a week ago,
That's
you know?
crazy.
And
Yeah.
it's not from my fault. I mean, you would say, oh, well, if it happened to you so many times, you got to take a look and see what the hell you're doing wrong. You know
Yeah.
what I do? I do handstands. I do yoga. I
Yeah.
smoke pot. That's what I do. That's the worst thing that in your society, and I don't mean your society. Please forgive me. I don't
Yeah.
mean that directly towards you.
I get what you're saying.
Okay. The worst that I do is smoke weed.
Right.
I don't. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. Um, you know, but I stand out. I stand out. How many one-legged people do you know that are standing on a corner doing a handstand?
Not many.
Eh,
Not many.
No, because I could be anywhere, and if my back hurts, I go inverted. I do it because my back hurts. Um,
Now let me ask you this. Does it affect you selling at all? Like using all your shit on your boat?
No, actually I get around better on the I got around really good on the smaller boat. And when I lost the Catalina in Tampa, I bought a 34 footer, and I had to jump on this one because I needed something. And I had the cash, but I didn't know where to live. So I bought this boat, and it's set up a little harder for me to get around on. But at the same time, it also has its pluses. You know, it's and minuses. But I can do it. I sailed from Tampa down to the Keys, down the Gulf, came through the Keys, came up the East Coast, and came into Fort Lauderdale.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, man, exactly what you were saying, dude. Like you've been through some struggles as well. I have as well. It's part of the journey in life, dude. I have a defibrillator under my arm, and I got diagnosed with tachycardia and had to have heart surgery. It was the worst time of my life, but at the same time, I think everything happens for a reason, and you have to go through that shitty struggle to get where you need to be.
Where he needs you to be,
Yeah,
where God needs you to be. Because I mean,
yeah,
I'll
man.
tell you, I mean, I go through ups and downs all the time, like everybody, and I even to this day, I mean, I really do. I think a lot about just checking the fuck out. To be honest with you, but
Really,
every time, yeah, because this life is too much of a struggle, and it wasn't what God meant it to be. Okay, I believe in the Nephilim. I believe in the fallen angels. I believe that the
Yeah,
angels taught man how to make swords and that whole 9 yards, and to kill each other and to hurt each other. And that's I mean, too much violence, too much petty shit, too much greed in this world.
yeah,
How
man.
can you live in this world today? See, I'm old school. I'm 55 years old.
Right.
I mean, I bought my first house. My first house was a 3-bedroom ranch that was in serious fixer upper shape, but the house and the property was $41,000 on a quarter acre of land in New
Damn,
Jersey.
that's fucking not great,
I mean, yeah, within 7 years, it wound up going up to 120, but that was only because of the repairs and shit that I did to it. But
man.
you
That's
can't touch
fucking
me
nuts.
today. I paid $11,000 for a boat that I'm ready to sink. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I mean,
and that
dude,
money is not what it was years ago. Everything is so damn overpriced, and you pay for nothing. Everything. You go to the store, half the food is fake. I just went in here and it's a 7-Eleven. You know 7-Eleven's pickles are fake?
no, I had no clue.
Look at their pickles. They're not real pickles. I don't know what the fuck it is. But if you
Dude,
ever
the
look, if you remember the original pickle is a cucumber. And if you slice open a cucumber, it has the seeds and the lines in it and all of that. This has nothing of that. None of that. It's just a solid piece of something. It's
that's
ridiculous.
it's fucking crazy, man. You know, dude, they're putting chemicals in everything we eat nowadays. You know, I don't know, the whole COVID bullshit.
Bullshit.
I did, I didn't believe in that.
I was
You know,
I
I'm
was in I was in county jail. Listen to this story. I was in county jail in Palm Beach County when COVID hit, when they first came out with the shot. And when the guards came around and said they're willing to give you a kosher care pack for free if you get the
fuck
shot.
no,
And as soon as I heard that, two things: one, kosher; two, free. Anybody that's willing to give you anything for free, and especially if it comes from a jail, there's got to be an alternative reason. You know, they don't give you shit. They don't even want to feed you.
dude. They want to fucking dude. That's a government trying to fucking kill you.
Exactly. So when I heard that, I said, "No, it's all right. I'm fine. I'm unvaccinated, and I'll stay that way."
Yeah,
And
dude. I don't, mm-mm,
I haven't
I
been
don't believe
sick.
in it.
I don't believe in it either. But do you know? I mean, if you look in your history, I love history, and I can't remember which one, if it was Rockefeller or who his name was, but it was the guy that owned Standard Oil.
Yeah,
And when he owned Standard Oil, he owned something like 90% or 100% of the oil production in the United States. The federal
holy
government
shit.
came in and busted him up. They busted up his monopoly on the oil refinery and created all the other ones. And when they did that, he swore to destroy America. This is fact. This is actual fact. This
That's
man made a
crazy.
personal mission to destroy the country because of what they did to him. Now, in a messed up kind of way, he wound up owning more of the other companies and wound up giving him more profit than before when he owned everything. But
Right?
and if you look at today, everything that we have is petroleum based. Plastic is petroleum based. Our medicine is petroleum based. We use gasoline like it's going out of style, like it's water. You opening up the tap. It comes from somewhere. We're pumping out oil out of the ground, and it's like pumping blood out of your arm. When the certain gets to a certain level, guess what? You're going to be unalive. And at the same time, the planet's going to crack and it's going to go to hell. That's just the way
Yeah.
I see it.
Oh yeah, man. And I'm a huge Christian, you know, and I don't give a fuck about all these kids online and stuff. You know, God's coming back. I hate to say it. It's getting really close.
Yes, it is.
Um, you know, if you look in the Bible, I don't want to get too much into it. You know, obviously there's other people's opinions online, and
Well, they made it.
don't
Listen, if they don't want to listen, they can move, scroll on.
right, right,
You know, I'm not gonna change what we're gonna say to make somebody else
right,
feel comfortable.
right. But it's just he's coming back, man. I believe in it. You know, I grew up a Christian. I grew up Southern Baptist. You know, Uh, he's coming, man. He's coming,
I know. Believe I.
and
I don't know.
it's
This is one
scary.
of
It's scary.
the. You want to really know what's scary? My mother's name is Rosemary, and she never stopped to smell the roses, so cut Rose off her name, and you got Mary. And my father's name is Joseph, and my name is Joseph, but I go by the name J, which is
Yeah,
just the
Jay.
letter J. I cut the Osif off my name. And then my boat, the boat that I went through the hurricane with, was named Seashell. So I took SEA, and I would say my name was JC. JAYSEA. My mother's
JC.
Mary, my father's Joseph. My birthday is July 25th. I'm the summer baby.
Yeah.
Okay. And when I read, and believe me, I was raised, I wasn't raised, I was raised, my mother wasn't spiritual or religious at all. My grandmother believed in God and the Bible. I went to Catholic school in fourth and through seventh grade. I was an altar boy. I held the plate. Nothing ever happened to me. No priest ever tried to molest me or anything like that. I always thought they were too freaking weird anyway.
Right.
But I never understood it because we never read the Bible. We never read the Word. When I left my family and the first time I went to jail, I picked up the Bible and I started reading it from the New Testament first. I read Genesis and then Revelations, then I went to the New Testament and I read about this dude named Jesus. And I thought he was so cool because he's going around and he's helping everybody. Because see, I'm a helper at heart. I like to see everybody
Right.
do well. And
Yeah.
I'm reading about him feeding 5,000 people and all of this stuff. And I'm like, I want to be like him. I want to be like him. Now, when I read the part where everybody's saying that he's God, I say no. I don't agree with that. Because you got his name wrong right off gate. You got the wrong name up there. You're calling the man named Jesus. His name wasn't Jesus. It was never Jesus because there's no J in their language. They couldn't have been a Jesus. And why would God come down here, send his son down here, and then the Father, the Son, and the Holy? So he was the Son and the Father at the same time. Well, yeah, you know what? Guess what? So am I. I'm a son and I'm a father. I have two children. I was born. So we are all God, are we not? I mean, if you want to say that,
100%.
I
100%.
believe, I look at the word and I go to Genesis. God, the first word in the Bible, created the earth. It was formless. And what I get out of that was, do you know how this is? I'm going to put it in rationale as to how small and insignificant earth and the human race is. The earth was without form, it was a watery ball. We know that, right? But that water was floating around in space. But you know where it came from? It
Where's
was a
that?
teardrop. It's a teardrop from God. It was a teardrop. He shed one tear and then took that teardrop and made it into earth by putting a little rock here and a little rock there and then blowing it up and then putting a little thing here and a little thing. That's how big God is compared to us. I say the sun is the lens on a microscope. You okay? You ever see the bottom side of a microscope? They turn the light on, it comes through that little
Yeah.
thing. It
Yeah.
looks just like the sun.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, man. That's awesome. Yeah, dude. I guess going back um to your whole story, um the boat you have now, man. I know it was I think it's not the same boat you had in the hurricane. I know for a
No,
damn fact. No. What
no. I
happened to
lost
that boat? What happened to that boat?
the day before the hurricane. The police came down and told me that I was trespassed from every single public park in Tampa. I didn't under, yeah. I'm trespassed from every single park in Tampa. I cannot go into any park in any public park in Tampa. I am not allowed in. 2 days
That's
before the hurricane, he tells me that. During that conversation, when he was done, go ahead, go
yes.
ahead.
I remember you saying that. I remember you saying that.
Wait till you hear what I'm going to tell you right now, and it'll all come right back. He had come to the boat on his boat first thing in the morning. I had just woken up. And as I'm going back and forth with him, he's done. I said, "Are you done now?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "I got to go." He said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I got to pee." He said, "Where are you going to pee?" I said, "In my coffee cup." I got a pee jug, but I just said that. It was an excited utterance because you're asking me a stupid question. I'm giving you a dumber answer, you fucking moron. Excuse my French, I apologize.
Right. You're good.
You know? So he leaves, and then the hurricane came after, and I did what they didn't want me to do. The mayor went on the news and made a statement that we got Lieutenant Dan to go to a shelter. And if we can get Lieutenant Dan to go to a shelter, we can get anybody to go to a shelter. Meanwhile, on Channel 3, okay, which is another news channel down in Tampa, I'm being interviewed live on my boat, and they're asking me if I'm going to a shelter. And I said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying right here.
Right
So
here. I remember that. Yeah.
the mayor got caught in the lie right there. So right after the hurricane hit, the cops come down and they arrest me for trespassing at the park because my
That's
boat
bullshit.
is tied to the cleat at the, and this is the thing that, see, the problem was I was going through so much and I have no help, no real help.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
why people don't
Yeah.
understand. People don't comprehend that when Check the Earl, Check the Star, whatever the fuck his name is, he
Yeah.
came in, he came in as he came in as a guiding light, even though he was dim as hell. But I took what I could get at the time. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the cops arrested me, and this is what happened. As soon as they arrested me, I was down in county at the jail. They take all your property away in processing. And he says, "You want to get any phone numbers off your phone?" I said, "Yeah." So he hands me my phone. I turn my phone on, and as soon as I did, I get a text message from Check. "Where are you?" I just
Yeah.
replied back, "Jail," and sent. And as soon as I was able to send that, I calmed right down. I lost all my all my anxiety, everything, because I knew I had somebody on the outside that knew what was going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and they arrested me for trespassing. They impounded the boat.
That's
Uh,
fucked.
Now, what I mean by impound, they towed my boat to a ramp, to a boat ramp, then had
Yeah.
crane, a crane come down and pick my boat up out of the water, bring it over, and put it on the flatbed city trailer truck. And then they towed it to the police impound in downtown Tampa and dropped it on the concrete and wouldn't let me on the boat to get any of my belongings for 2 weeks, telling me it was under special investigation. Now, wait a minute. You arrested me for trespassing at your park. Why is my boat under special investigation? When I finally was able to get back on the boat 2 weeks later, I was so disgusted and so upset because they went through and ripped my boat apart. They searched
Wow.
every nook and cranny in that boat. They could have found a pubic hair from Diana Ross. All right, that's how they went through this boat. And guess what? No new charges were filed against me. Let me make that
They
make
wanted
sense for the chief seats. They
hey,
didn't find nothing.
they wanted to fuck you. That's what they wanted to
Exactly.
do.
Exactly. And
They
now
yeah.
the tow bill on the for the boat was over $7,000 at the time. 2 weeks afterward, I only paid $1,500 for the boat.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's God. And at that point I bet you're like, fuck man. But you have to get it. That's your home, you know what I mean?
At that point, I walked away from it. I had just gotten the go. See, when I went through the hurricane, that kid Tampa Terrence started the GoFundMe that I didn't even know about. See, there was so many things happening that people don't know about, and they still take sides and they don't know the details. They set up that GoFundMe thing without me even knowing. My name wasn't on anything on the GoFundMe except the description.
I remember that. Yeah, I go into depth with that. I vaguely remember that shit, man. I know, dude. I don't even know the kid who actually put you on. I know his name Terrence, but that's all I really. I remember it going on, and then he kind of was out of the picture after a while, and then you started fucking with Check, right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
what happened was before the hurricanes even hit, before the storm was even coming, I met Tampa Terrence. And that's what he goes by, Tampa Terrence.
Okay.
And he had helped me. I was stranded, stuck in the canal, in the middle of the canal. I couldn't get my boat to the side of the wall. So he
Yeah.
had been walking by. I yelled to him. I said, "Can you help me?" He said, "Yeah." So he helped me. About a week later, the hurricane came down, and he comes down with a bunch of his friends, and he's calling me Lieutenant Dan, and he shows me the video clip from Forrest Gump where Lieutenant Dan's screaming at the storm, saying, "You call this a storm?" Ah, you know. He says, "Can you do that?" And I'm like, "Bro, it's beautiful out. What do you want me to say?" So I went on this whole kick about fucking police and stuff. But then the hurricane hit, and he just kept showing up and making these videos. And
Right.
at first, I thought he was just really coming down to check on me, because
Right.
I was on the boat, and I knew he was making videos, but I really, in my heart, knew that he was a college student over at Tampa University. I figured maybe he's majoring in video production or something like that, and he's going to use this for his grades in school. I had no idea it was being shot out across on the internet, and everybody and their mother knew about it. I had a reporter from Australia fly from Australia to Tampa, Florida, and come down to do an interview with me.
Oh
I mean,
shit.
there's a big storm guy, very popular on the Weather Channel. I don't know what
Yeah.
his name is. Okay. He came down and did a half-hour interview with me. I mean, I don't know who these people are, but everybody that I talk to, they all know me from him or from them. So I know these
Yeah.
people are more important than I am.
Right.
But it was crazy. It was crazy. They took the boat, they arrest me, impound the boat. I get out, I'm stranded, check the star, picks me up. Then he lets me stay at his house. I'm
Yeah.
staying at his house for like 2 days, and he keeps
Yeah.
pushing me to stay in his master bedroom.
Right.
Bro, I'm a guest in your house. You don't understand the way I am. I'm a
Yeah.
guest
Yeah.
in your house. I'll sleep on a garage floor.
You're
All
old
right.
school, man. You're old
Yeah.
school.
Yeah. I'll sleep on the
Yeah.
floor. This is your bed, bro. So after the second day, I really started getting uncomfortable. I said, I gotta go. I gotta go. And my attitude and my personality kind of changed, and he got that hint. But he didn't want me to leave. It was like I felt almost like I felt like a fish on a hook. And
He wanted that clout.
exactly. And I didn't know what clout was. I didn't understand the internet game, this whole bullshit. I didn't understand that. I learned a lot since then,
Yeah.
you know. And I just
Uh
managed to get the hell away from him, and everything he just came. I don't know if you ever saw the video of him. I was on my boat. No, I had already not spoken to him in like 5 months. I bought the
right.
boat. I was on the boat in Tampa, across from Tampa General Hospital. And he comes down and he's on the seawall and he's screaming at me, Dan, Dan. And he's I mean, really, and he made a video about it. He jumped in the water to swim to me and he couldn't even make it. And it was only maybe 100 yards away. He had to turn around and go back.
What the
That's how
fuck?
much it was like. He's crazy. And then you got all those people saying that I'm the nutty one.
What's man? I
No,
remember I remember the videos he was making. Like I remember you I wish I remember what video it was, but dude, you about whooped his ass in one video. Is when you were trying to go home. You got pissed at him and you were like, just take me the fuck to my boat.
yeah, that was more than once. I mean, whenever I was with him, and the weird thing was, this is why we started talking about a little bit about God and whatnot. I call
Yeah.
him Pop, by the way, but
Right.
we thought everybody that came into my life at that time was bad news, and I was not built for that. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
built for it. I'm just not. I'm not. It's not my everyday occurrence. Check the star, the clout thing with Tampa Terrence.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
there was a guy, I don't know if you remember him. His name was Milkshake or something like that, or
I
Skim
don't
Milk,
remember.
or
Yeah, I don't
one.
remember him.
He was an Instagram poster. But he came
Okay.
over and he starts acting like he's my friend. He's helping me out, all of this kind of shit. He's trying to be a nice guy.
Man, you know
And
what
what's
that
he
is?
do? He stole my fucking van. I bought a fucking minivan, but since I didn't have an ID, the dealership wouldn't sell it to me. So I
Yeah.
looked at him. I said, "Bro, can we put it in your name until they put the title in your name, and then just sign it over to me?"
You just switch it
You know.
over, yeah.
And now me and him have been hanging around for a while. So I asked him. He said, "Yeah, sure, no problem." Now for me, I'm old school. I would have just did it
Yeah.
and been done with it.
Right.
I left Tampa. I came back to Fort Lauderdale here. I was down at the beach and I'm doing a live. I'm on TikTok live, doing a
Yeah.
live, and all of a sudden, four fucking Fort Lauderdale cops swarm me, guns drawn, screaming, "You're on TikTok live talking about how you got warrants and this and that," and blah, blah, blah. Pull me out of the car, arrest me. Now, they arrest me. Now, the thing is this, I have a warrant out of Colorado. It's non-extraditable. They don't want nothing to do with me. But if I
Yeah, they
ever go
don't
to
fucking want
Colorado,
you. They don't want
no,
you.
that was what it was. So Fort Lauderdale held me overnight. And then, I mean, it was like, while I was gone, this guy, Mike, his name is Mike, or Milkshake, or
Right.
1% Milk, or something like that. When they arrested me, he had a tow truck come and tow my van from Fort Lauderdale back to Tampa. I got out of jail the next day after the arrest. My van is in Tampa. I'm in Fort Lauderdale. Why is my van in Tampa? So he comes out and picks me up. But the vibe was just wrong. It was weird. I got very bad feeling from the minute I hooked up with him. We're driving back. Now, again, I go live and I picked up my Bible and I just what I normally do is I pick up my Bible, I open it up, and I just start reading. And whatever God wants
Yeah.
me to know, He tells me.
Right.
And I got it through the screen, I'm reading the Bible through the screen so that you can read it as well. And the way that this guy Milk is talking was like, he was talking like how he got my soul. I signed my soul over to him,
That's
and
the
this, well, go
yeah.
ahead.
That's the devil in disguise, my man.
Exactly. So he's pushing that narrative, and as he's doing that, I'm reading the word, and it's mimicking what he's saying, but from God's point of view. I had over freaking like 1,000 people in my live. I had something like 150 911 calls placed to get the car stopped because I was going to jump out of the car while I was doing 75. I opened up the door on the live and was getting ready to jump out, and he started screaming, "No, no, 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 I'll stop." And we pulled over, and the cops were there waiting for us and got my shit out of the car. I'm at a rest area in the middle of Florida somewhere. I don't know where I am. Thank God that I had a good follower, a nice guy. His name is Vaughn. He's a singer. You know Vaughn? VONN? White
No,
guy.
no, I do not.
Okay. He's a nice guy. But anyway, my stories go long and I get in deep. But anyway, he had
You're
heard
good, man.
he was on my live, and as soon as I got spurred away, he said, "I'm coming to get you." He's in Florida. He
Hell yeah.
came all the way out, picked me up, put me in an Airbnb, let me get some rest. I mean, and
But, yeah, that's a good guy right there.
yeah, but you can't tell somebody when they just walk up to you and say, "Hey," and start talking to you. You don't know if people are good or bad or what their story is or what their motives are until they show
Yeah.
you. You know,
100%, man. 100%. So I kind of want to go back a little bit too. Um, when did it all come? When did you come in contact with Adin? How did that happen?
right after the hurricane. I mean, it was like almost during the hurricane. Like it just ended. Tampa Terrence
Okay.
comes up to me and says that Adin Ross wants to make me a deal of 100. He wants to give me $100,000 boat, or no, a $50,000 boat, or $100,000 boat, and $100,000 a year kick deal, or some shit like that, where I would have this
Yeah.
residual income and all that, and all I have to do is go on
Right.
live and stream.
Right.
I had no idea what any of this was. Okay. They come to me with this, and then they got the GoFundMe going. And see, this is where I didn't know about it at the time, but I'm sure Adin did, that they were betting on me in Vegas not to make it.
What?
Yeah, there was taking bets in Vegas on whether or not Lieutenant Dan would survive. Um, whatever fucking what the hell was his name? Milton,
Yeah, Milton.
whether or not he would survive Milton. I heard Cardi B lost money on the bet. She bet against me. She bet that I would die, and I lived.
Wow,
That
man.
that was all going on at that time. And then I talked to Adin, and everything was set up that we were going to do this whole thing. And I had no idea what Kick was. I heard it was a proprietary thing. So I didn't know that you could get it off the App Store. So I was talking to Terrence and said, well, I need to have this software installed on my phone so I can do this. So then all of a sudden they bring some other guy in. What they were doing was trying to steal my account, my TikTok account, because I had almost
Yeah,
700,000 followers. They wanted my
they want.
username and password, right?
I remember that. Yeah, I vaguely
Yeah.
remember you saying that. Yep.
And you know, they brought me. This is the thing. They tell me we got to go. We're gonna go set this shit up. So they bring me to a hotel, right? And now you know
Okay.
how
Okay.
hotels have like these open business rooms that are like open for anybody. We go into this business room and they're talking and acting like it's some kind of big business meeting. You don't understand. I am the one that I used to sit in Fortune 500 company meetings with the president and the vice president of the company because we were introducing new IA software, shit like that.
Right. Yeah.
And it was just all a setup, and I could see it from the beginning. And then one thing leads to another. Now we're going to a house, and we're going to this house, and I'm in a car with three people that I don't know, and they want my
Okay.
phone. And we're walking up to the house, and we get to the door, and it's supposed to be one of these dudes' houses,
Yeah.
but there's sandbags at the door. There were sandbags going across the doorway. You know how you do that when there's a storm coming?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's sandbags at the door, and this guy supposedly lives here. If he lives here and he was here today, why are these sandbags here? How did he get in and out?
It's crazy.
You follow my logic? You see the
I
way
am.
where
I
my
am.
mind. I walk up to a door that you're telling me we're walking into, and I look down and I see sandbags laid across the doorway where you got to move them so that we could open the door to get in. Why would you put them back after the storm?
Right.
Because this is not your fucking house. Why are you
That's
trying to get me
crazy.
in this fucking house? So I said, you know what? Forget it. Let's go. And we turned around and walked away. I wouldn't walk into that. I wouldn't walk into that. That's the
That's some
kind of
sketchy
shit that
shit.
bro, you have no idea. You don't have enough hours in the day for my story.
Dude, I guess it goes. I, I get you told me they had bets on you and shit, Don. I guess that whole Kick bullshit and the streamer shit they're doing, that shit goes kind of deep, doesn't it? That shit gets a little dark, doesn't it?
I'm gonna tell you like this. Kick, Adin Ross, um, who else? Jack Doherty, all these other influencers, they're all sperm or spawn of Satan. Okay, they're all working in that arena because they're trying to distract everybody with bullshit. Adin Ross is all about gambling. He's all about the gambling, all about the fucking MMA fighting and all of that bullshit. That is against what God stands for. 100% against what God stands. God stands for unity, not separation, not fighting, bickering,
Yeah,
bullshit, money, things like that. God wants unity. God put us on this earth with fruit trees abundant. He said, I give you power to go forth and conquer. And what
hundred
do?
percent,
We come and we conquer ourselves. We put limitations on ourselves. You can't eat unless you pay me. You can't breathe the air unless you pay me. You can't live
100%.
anywhere. You can't stand on a street corner without getting arrested for vagrancy. This country, America, which I was born here and I was sold into the lie. I love the lie. It's the truth that I can't stand. And guess what? We're living in the truth because we're
Fuck
not
yeah,
living
every
in the
single
lie.
day.
Okay? We're not living in the lie. So that's why God started me. When I started reading the Bible, like I said, I started in the beginning and I went from the beginning to the end. Genesis and Revelation. Then I went to the middle. And God put on my heart at that time There's two important parts of any good book: the beginning and the end. Everything in the middle is just filler. It's just bullshit. The beginning and the end are the important parts. How is it going to? How did it start and how does it end? And we
Right.
are ripe. We are ripe. Our grapes are ripe. Okay, it's time for the wine press and to start making some grapes, swishing some grapes. Because
Right. Yeah.
one way or the other, somebody's got to win and somebody's got to lose. Because I'm tired of living like.
Hell yeah, man. And what I want to say is we are running a little bit on time. But what I do want to say is, man, the internet. I know, especially when you went as viral as you did, and people see everything and everything's going on. People have two different, you know, perceptions on someone. I just want to say, I think you're a good man. I think you're
Thank
really
you.
awesome. And not only that, if you could say anything to the people watching at home right now that saw you through that time and that are going to watch this podcast, what would you say to them? What do you want to say to them right now?
What I want to say is to have faith in God, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. No matter what situation you're in, God will not. God won't put you up to a challenge that you can't get through. I know I
Hell
messed
yeah,
that saying up, but you know what I'm trying to get at. I mean,
yeah, 100%.
when I first bought that boat, I was in a very peculiar situation in the middle of Tampa Bay where I didn't know that time. I was scared. I was scared. I was bounced so bad. It was such a bad. It was worse than the hurricane what I went through. During this storm, the rudder on my boat flew off. I had to catch it and bring it. I thought I was going to sink. And talking to God, I kept saying, "Pop, what am I going to do? I'm going to die, drown out here. I mean, what the hell?" And the first thing that popped into my head was go to sleep. You'll be all right in the morning. I swear to God, my boat is bouncing. I'm filling up with water. He says, "Go to sleep. What? You'll be all right in the morning." I laid
Because you know
down.
what?
I went to sleep, and I woke up in the morning with a guy in another boat right outside my boat. I woke up, opened up the hatch, stuck my head out, and there's a guy in a little boat right there. I said, "Hey, can you tow me over there?" He said, "Yeah, sure," and he helped me. And
Yeah,
that's
man.
why when people that was prior to the hurricane. That's why when people said, "Aren't you scared of the hurricane?" What I just went through was more severe than anything I can go through, and God got me through that. He can get me through.
Oh man, you get when you have God on your side, you shouldn't be afraid of anything.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
another question. Something that I'm sure everyone would love to see. You know how the internet is. Um, if you have one thing to say to either Adin Ross or Check the Star, you don't have to comment on it, or you can. That's up to you.
It is what it is. You know who you are. I mean, I don't have nothing to say to. They came to me. I didn't go to them. Okay, you came to
Right.
me and you told me you were going to give me all of this and do all of that for me, and then you turned around and canceled it because you just got the word that I had, 16 arrests or something like that. You didn't do your research and look to see what those arrests were for like, because I didn't go to court. So they put a bench warrant out to get you to come to court. I'm sorry, I don't like to go to the proctologist either. And and
Right.
my
Right.
visit to the proctologist is a lot like going to court. You still wind up with two fingers somewhere that you don't want.
Right. Hey man, I hate going to court. Oh God, man. Every time I go in court, I get so nervous. I hate it.
uh, I'm the same way, but I don't get nervous anymore. I used to. In North Carolina, I had a DUI. I was given a DUI, my very first
Yeah.
arrest, and I told the cop, take me to the hospital and let's do some blood work. So we went to the hospital, we did blood work, and I got the test results, and I had a 0.00% alcohol level in my system.
Damn. Okay.
Okay. And the only kind of narcotic that I had in my system was marijuana, which at my arrest was at 7 o'clock in the morning. So I had, I had 7 charges. I had DUI, driving, reckless, what the hell? No, careless and reckless.
Reckless endangerment.
Yeah, some shit. I had like 7 charges. And I had a
Yeah.
public defender at first. The public defender said, plead guilty to the DUI and they'll drop everything else.
they'll drop everything
They'll
else.
they'll
Yeah, that's how it
they'll drop
works.
the 6 charges. You just plead guilty to DUI. I said
Yeah,
no
because
because
they want.
I wasn't
Yeah,
DUI. You have no proof. You had 0.00% alcohol in my system. So there was no DUI. I'm not going to lie and plead guilty to something I didn't do to make you happy. So then I hired a paid lawyer in Raleigh, North Carolina. Hired a paid lawyer. And he came to me and said, they said, plead guilty to everything else and they'll drop the DUI. I said,
same
no,
thing.
I'm not pleading guilty to everything else. I said, we're not going to do that. I had this paid lawyer so frazzled that he gave me my money back and quit. So
Wow.
I took it as far as the Supreme Court in North Carolina, in Raleigh, North Carolina, Supreme Court. I represented myself on a DUI, careless and reckless, resisting arrest, possession of marijuana, possession of paraphernalia, um, doing 120 and a 60. And I think that was it. That was the 7 charges. By the time I was done with my case, the only thing they found me guilty of were the only 2 charges that I was guilty of: speeding and not careless, resisting, delaying an officer. I didn't
Holy shit.
resist. I didn't resist. If you look up the statute in North Carolina, the charge of resisting, delaying an officer is the act of physically resisting or
Hmm.
actively stopping him from doing his job. Okay? So the way I
Right.
looked at it, he had to arrest me and take me to the hospital and book me. So I delayed him from doing his job. So I was guilty for the resisting and delaying part. And I was speeding. I admitted to that. So those were the only 2 charges I was found guilty of out of 7. But because I beat everybody's ass in court, the judge hit me with 90 days, 45 days on each charge, back to back, box card me. And it was my first time ever in trouble. The first time I ever got a speeding ticket or anything, he put me in jail for 90 days.
Holy shit.
Yep.
Holy shit.
So, yeah, you don't want to know.
God. County jail's
Bro,
a bitch too.
county, I would go to prison over fucking county. I mean, the
Yeah.
food in prison is a little better than county, but county is just all lockdown. You're just sitting on a bunk all day long. No rec time. You know, that's the one thing about Hillsborough County, Tampa. They have a rec yard all day long, so you can go out and you get out into the sun. The rec yard is a concrete slab with a wall all around you, solid walls. The only thing you can see is the blue sky. But it's the only thing that got me through it.